L'Afrique, terre d'opportunités.
Moi, je suis ravie de voir de belles initiatives comme ça qui accompagnent, incitent la jeunesse africaine à bouger. Parce qu'effectivement, aujourd'hui, rien ne se fera si on ne bouge pas nous-mêmes. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on est capable de faire de belles...
On a compris que la richesse aujourd'hui, elle se trouve en Afrique.
L'Afrique reste le continent de demain, reste un continent où il y a un développement économique quand même à deux chiffres.
C'est mon destin. Et j'espère que tout Africain qui se trouve ici pense la même chose de son pays.
C'est très important lorsqu'on parle de développement. On ne peut pas aujourd'hui concevoir le développement de l'Afrique sans une unité des Africains.
Qui dit aucun de nous, en agissant seul, ne peut atteindre le succès. Donc agissons ensemble. Nous avons un fort potentiel que nous pouvons apporter à la jeunesse africaine, au développement de l'Afrique en général.
C'est presque une évidence. La jeunesse est une valeur.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lovely viewers, dearest lovers of English, welcome back to the third session of this Think and Say competition. I am Aminata Sadinjai. I'm hosting this debate contest. So I'm very glad again to have you all around this afternoon and sharing with you all we have as knowledge. And without losing any time, since we're in a fasting month, I will introduce the members, our wonderful jury panel members, and then come back and talk about the teams competing today and their topics and those stuff. First of all, we have today we have Mr. Mamadou Silla, then we have Mr. Iba Jobsise, and next we have Mr. Numubari. They're really very committed since the very beginning and they're attending debates. So I will give the floor to them to maybe introduce themselves and give their impression or talk about some rules of the competition. And then we will be back to really start quickly the contest. So Mr. Mamadou Silla, you have the floor first.
Thank you. Sorry, just a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you very well.
Thank you. So my greetings to everyone. My greetings to Amina, to the schools competing today, IQRA Bilingual School and MAARIF School, and all my greetings as well to the staff and my dear colleagues, members of the jury, Numu and Ibadofise. So my name is Mamadou Silla, and I am really, again, very overwhelmed to be here this afternoon. And yeah, I hope that we'll have a wonderful afternoon. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mamadou. No, Mr. Iba Jobsise, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I say afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
We're hearing you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. See you again. MAARIF, academy, because we met once time, isn't it? We met once time, I say, isn't it?
Yes, we already met.
And that was great. That was so excellent. Last time I was so amazed to hear you speak in this language like that, because as you said, when I got your edge, I didn't have the ability to speak language like that. And I'm so happy to see young, boys and girls at the age of 14, 18, 19, too much trust this language as well, because it's great. It pushes people to just move in and motivating, some boys and girls like your age and us, who did not have the opportunity to come here, because debating is very, very interesting. Yeah, I started debating when I was in L3, if I'm not mistaken. And Aminata Saya, Silla, they were there. And they were a source of my motivation, if I can say. From speaking, and I said to myself, so I have to take up this challenge. I have to expose myself to this situation or kind of where I would be obliged to use language efficiently. And to tell you the truth is, you are on the right track. Keep on doing it. Watch a lot of videos, most importantly videos, because I was hearing about Zakaria. I said she watches a lot of videos, and it is very interesting. Me, for myself, I learned this language from books and videos. This is the two most important things, in order to master English, because the best way to master English is to hear people speaking and how they use the language, pronunciation, and do not forget about English of pronunciation, a language of pronunciations, because every single word need to be pronounced. And don't worry about that. You are on the right track. Keep on working. Coming to the rules about the debate, so just I think you have once started the debate. I think also you do not forget about is how it is done, and interventions. You know how much intervention do we have, and also how it is done, because the introducer, someone who make the introduction, will be different to the first intervention, and it will be given one by one, and also the conclusion, no adding informations, because the conclusion is the part where you are going to sum up and come back to the affirmation, meaning what position did you about the subject or the topic. It was all I want to say. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Ibajab. Wise words. Really, as you said, practice makes progress. I would practice makes perfect. Sometimes it's what as the what we're used to saying, but I would sometimes saying that practice makes progress. Not really perfect, and as you said, they're on the right track, because public speaking is not easy. Really, you need to practice. You need to overcome your fears and doubts. Really, and it's not easy. They're really on the right track, because daring voicing out their opinion is just great. So without losing time, let's give the floor to Mr. Numubari. Is he online?
Yes, I'm around.
Yeah, Mr. Numubari, you have the floor.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. By the way, I am sending my well-chosen and respectful greetings to my dear colleagues, members of the jury, and to our different players during this holy month of Ramadan. And I profit from that occasion to formulate some prayers so that we should live peacefully in our respective societies, right? So my name is Numubari, Master 1 student, specialized in literature and civilization as English department of Gothenburg University. And I am always eager to take part in this competition as a member of the jury. The best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Numubari. It was great. Now, before starting the competition as I'm used to doing, you need to, like I will talk about the interventions. You have 7 interventions in total. You have 5 minutes, or you have, it is, the interventions are divided as followed. You have an introduction of 5 minutes. You have 5 arguments of 3 minutes, and you have 1 conclusion of 5 minutes. So look at the screen of your laptop, and once you see the image that is projected by the staff, just go on. Don't wait for me again to give you the floor. And last time you did it in a very wonderful way. So I think we are going to start. And again, another thing, don't go beyond, because it is something that is very important, because the academic and scientific director insisted on that during his inaugural speech. Do not insist when your time is over, right? So bear in mind the timekeeper that will be projected on the screen. So I think that we can start the competition. Today we are hosting 4 schools. We have IQRA Bilingual Academy and MAARIF High School. And we have also Maliksi High School for the second round versus MSZ High School. And for the first round, IQRA Bilingual Academy and MAARIF, yes, high school, they will be debating on the topic. The debating topic is entitled, "Does the Senegalese educational system match with the need of population?" So IQRA Bilingual Academy will stand for the yes, and MAARIF high school will stand for the no. So guys, if you're ready, we can start the competition. IQRA Bilingual Academy, you have the floor for your introduction in 5 minutes.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Go on.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We IQRA Bilingual Academy students greet the jurors and everybody that are involved in here. We thank you for having us here. So we are here to say yes for the notion, does the Senegalese educational system match with the needs of the populations? Senegal is the home to about 16.3 million people in total, according to statistics. And we are here to say that yes, the Senegalese educational system does match with the needs of the populations of Senegal. What are the needs of the populations of Senegal, might you ask? So I did some research and I found out that the Senegalese people seem to need a lot more skills in terms of higher education, also seem to need better development for the country. They seem to need more structural advancement within the country for the development of the country. Also need more educational systems being more not as complex as they are at the moment. And we are here to say, yes, the Senegalese education system does contribute to a lot of these things, and we believe that it could improve. However, we do think that, yes, it does match the needs of the population. Seda, will you give some definitions?
Hello, everyone. So I will be giving the definitions from the keywords of the topic. So for the definitions, we have education. So education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, norms, beliefs, and habits. So education can take place in formal or informal settings, and any experience that has a formative effect on the way one feels, thinks, or acts can be considered as educational. So system. We also have system as a vocabulary. So system is defined in this case as a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done, an organized method. So it's basically the way of working, organizing, or doing something in which follows a fixed plan or set of rules. We also have need. Need is something, anything that is required because it is essential to accomplish something. It is not only for your desires. So it is the circumstances in which something is necessary. And we have population. So I think everybody knows what it is. Population is simply the number of living people that lives together in a particular place, town, country, and so on.
So in this debate, I'll be talking about, right now in the introduction, I'll be talking about the contents of our debate argument. We'll be talking about the richness of the Senegalese educational system. We're going to be talking about the advantages. We're going to be talking about a social experiment that I conducted for this debate. And also we're going to be talking about what could be done better. And also the comparisons between the Senegalese students and the population in terms of education compared to other countries around the world. Then we'll be going to our conclusion. Shoaib, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Assalamu alaikum to the jurors and the jury and everyone else. Today, my team and I would be supporting the topic of yes, the Senegalese system does benefit the population and very well much we have evidence and also uh, answers to those questions, to the question that we've been given. Thank you.
Now, at the end of this, I would like to give a little overview of the beginning of the Senegalese education. In the beginning of during the first few decades of the independence of Senegal, in 1960, the Senegalese educational system has been more advanced, had been having much more advancements due to the President Leopold Senghor, and he also advocated for higher education for the Senegalese.
Okay, so it's our turn, right? Okay, so my name is Aminata J. As I've already said, uh, we are the students of MAARIF, and we will be talking about the topic, does the Senegalese educational system match with the needs of the population? So our school will defend the no position. We believe that the Senegalese educational system doesn't match with the needs of our population. So I'll pass the micro to my teammate, Mamadou, that will be doing our introduction.
Hello, I'm Mamadou Diop. Now, my first answer is it doesn't match with the needs of the population because the the population need more teachers and less students, and the teachers need much more training. There are two different education systems: the being educated at home or being educated in school by being taught. And we're gonna be talking about the being educated in school. Now I'm going to be giving the floor to Mara.
Hello, my name is Aisa Tumara, and I will be giving the definition of an educational system. So, an educational system is an arrangement that consists of at least one student and one teacher in a context, such as in a tutorial or via Skype. It generally refers to public schooling kindergarten from kindergarten to high school programs. So I will be giving the floor to Aminata J.
Thank you, Mara, for this definition of the educational system. So uh, to put to make the context, I will give the needs of the Senegalese population. Our population needs to be able to fight against poverty, and our actual educational system doesn't help us to fight against poverty. Our population needs qualified professionals in their professions. Our educational system doesn't help for our educational system doesn't help for the needs of our population. Uh, we also need good uh, good faculties that will help for the formation of our students. And the educational system also doesn't help with that. So I'll give the floor to my teammate Maha that will help us to put a really good context to our topic.
So what we have to give more place is communicative language. Like many people are using GTM, that means grammar,
teaching methodology, but we have to use, but if we use role play teamwork, it will help the students to more to communicate better. Communicate better. Thank you. Okay, so we're done with our introduction. We would like to leave the floor to the other team for their intervention.
Okay, thank you. Before keeping on, I just wanted to give a precision about the timekeeper. If you're done with your argument, you're starting your arguments, like the 5 arguments. If you're done with it, um, I mean, if you're done with your argument, you're not obliged to end the time. For example, if you don't just say next, and we'll be moving, and the staff will move to the next intervention. You're not obliged to finish by 3 minutes, right?
Okay.
If you're done with your argument, you give that your argument. If you don't, just say next, and we'll be moving on to the next intervention, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so on the contrary, IQRA Bilingual Academy would like to say that there are advantages to the Senegalese educational system. And on the contrary to what some people may believe, so the Senegalese population needs more teachers and as also more students as well. We do not believe that we should have less students because Africa's population is growing, and the biggest population of the Africans, especially in all countries in Africa, are the youth. So we should not reduce our students. We should augment our teachers. And we believe that there is a quality to the teachers in the Senegalese educational system because we have many teachers here that speak both language, like many teachers are actually trilingual, bilingual. And we believe that that's a lot of qualifications. We believe that another advantage of the Senegalese education system is the richness of the studies. We believe that compared to other schools and other educational systems around the world, the Senegalese are much more advanced when it comes to math and science and other subjects, including English grammar as well. Whether most of the time it's not spoken, however, the grammar is on point. We believe that something that is being taught from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade in maybe the United States, for example, or France, is already learned all together in the 9th grade. And we see that in many examples of Senegalese who go abroad and find that their education, their level of education is higher to the grade that they're actually put in for the equivalent. So I would also like to leave the floor to Saida for advantages.
Yes. So for the advantages of the Senegalese educational system, I would like to brainstorm the biggest ones. For example, it provides a strong discipline. As Aisha Zakari said, it has a lot of rich information, knowledge, moral guidance, seriousness, and security.
Shoaib Zakari.
Okay, so as I think his name is Mo Diop, he said that the Senegalese system must reduce its students. With doing that, it will crumble the development of the state of the Senegalese country, because without knowledge or without a degree in this world, you are nothing. So if we were to reduce our students, that would be a huge blow to the Senegalese development in a whole. And also compare it like right now, present day in our schools, we are taught by mostly Senegalese teachers. And all of these teachers have been following the Senegalese curriculum. And they are now teaching us who are following others. And they are also,
Okay, so we'll take the floor for our second intervention. To defend our point, we would like to speak about the fact of having a foreign language as our educational language at school. So the Senegalese educational system is inspired by the French educational system, which is actually not a good thing because referring to the context, the Senegalese the Senegalese population is different from the French one. We need um, we need other uh, we need another educational system to match with the needs of our population. Yes, using a foreign language as our educational system language won't help for the development of our country. At home, at the streets, the students only speak in Wolof or in their mother tongue. That is the tongue that they speak at home, the tongue that they're used to be speaking with. So we can't force the student to go to school and learn languages that they are not familiar with. Firstly, because the French the French language isn't used uh, isn't used we do not use the French language at home or at the street. We only use it um, at school. So it won't help for the development of our population. I would like to pass the micro to my teammate, Maha, that will develop the points.
And also the lack of training, because we can see in especially private school some teachers that are not trained, and that does not match with the needs of the population.
Okay, thank you, Mara. So I will go back to the fact of having a foreign language. Uh, Even if we're using the foreign language French, and we're also using other languages such as Spanish, English, um, Arabic, those languages, the students aren't proficient with those languages because they do not speak those languages frequently at home or at the street. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to take the stance for the richness of the Senegalese educational system. We would like to say that the use of a foreign language in the Senegalese educational system is not much of a problem because statistics show that the Senegalese clearly still speak more Wolof than French. As French is not posing a problem to Wolof, to the speaking of Wolof and like intervening with that, we believe it should not be a problem. Yes, the educational system of Senegal has been made from the French system. However, if you were to compare the two today, the Senegalese students are faring more, not in infrastructure, but in terms of knowledge. We believe that the students have a higher GPA than the French students, and I would like to point to some examples of some students here in Senegal that went to France to study and learn, and they ended up not even studying at all because they thought it was extremely easy. This just goes to show that the Senegalese educational system and the French educational system are no longer the same, and the Senegalese are doing their own thing. And we believe that this is something that should be continued. Just because it was brought by France does not mean we should destroy it altogether. There are many countries around the world that have built upon their society structure from other examples of other societies, and yet they turned it into something that they made into their own, and they took credit for it. I believe the Senegalese should also do the same, continue onto it, and you will see that there are much more differences between the French educational system of today and the Senegalese educational system of today. And we talk about going forward in the future, and we believe that yes, it does hold an advantage and it does match the needs of the population of Senegalese students. Shuaib?
Okay, as you were talking about foreign languages, for the case of foreign languages, if we were to talk about that, then Wolof is not an international language. And if the population were to start if the population and the educational system were to be changed to be used in Wolof, then no textbooks would be used because all of them are either in French, English, or in Spanish, because those are one of the three major languages in this world. So the fact about foreign languages is not a problem, because educational systems are not put in favor of what we want. They're put in place by other people. And we must just follow these to develop ourselves and to develop our grammar, our language, and everything else in our countries too. So the fact bringing it on France, I think it is actually a good thing that the Senegalese. Oh.
So we'll take the floor for the third intervention. So for the third intervention, I would like to pass the micro to my teammate Mamadou that will develop a point of our argumentation.
To start the development, I would like to point out some needs for the population. Like the population need farmers. The statistic says that 80% of the Senegalese populations are farmers. And if you take example of the United States, at kindergarten, they already teach children how to bake cookies. And here in the educational system of the Senegalese education system, they don't learn it because they think that we already have enough farmers. Another thing I would like to point out is a lack of training of teachers. Some teachers are not well trained and come to school to teach children, and that can mess up with the education of children and the knowledge. Now I'll pass the floor to my other teammate, Mara.
So the Senegalese educational system encounters some difficulties that I will try to explain, like the lack of materials, like we can see in some students that are doing stream S and they don't know how to use chemical products, and the numerous students in private schools, and the teachers are not enough. The teachers are not enough. The teachers are not enough, and we and we have to evaluate with the same project and the same topics to make the student understand that if they were not studying well at school, that may be because they were not focused in studies. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to point out another thing. Because of our lack of equipment, our educational system isn't proficient. Students in rural areas cannot learn properly because they do not have the equipment required to learn properly. I would like, yes, next.
Okay, so we're here for our fourth intervention. I would like to point out that another thing that we were talking about, the different languages. We believe that being able to speak more than one language in the population of Senegal would definitely help the Senegalese population. And I believe that it is what the Senegalese population needs a lot. It is what everybody needs. Compared to French people don't know how to speak Wolof, but people in Senegal do know how to speak French and Wolof. That is an advantage. That's what we believe. We're not going to say that it is the best system. We're not going to say that it is the only thing that the Senegalese need, but we believe that it is efficient and it does match with the population's needs. However, we do know that there needs to be improvements, and we believe that every single educational system around the world must improve, not just the Senegalese educational system. So in terms of skilled teachers, that can easily be counterattacked by having much more training for the teachers and by having much more sessions for teachers and students to improve the interactions between each other. We believe that that can help the lack of skilled teachers. However, we do still believe that there are a huge number of skilled teachers in Senegal, as many people from different countries around the world, especially in Morocco, Niger, Ghana, Kenya, have all traveled from their own home country just to study in Senegal. This goes to show how the Senegalese system, the Senegalese educational system does not only match the needs of the population, but it also matches the needs of people in different countries. And with more people coming from different countries into Senegal just to learn, it creates more jobs for the Senegalese, especially for the Senegalese teacher, and it creates a better and much better reputation for the Senegal. And we believe that that is something Senegalese need. Saida?
Okay, so I would like to add something. I would like to be a witness on a point that Aisha Zakari declared. So, as she was saying, the Senegalese program, the system, is a really good one. We're not saying that it's the best, but of course it needs improvements. So, as a student from IQRA Bilingual Academy that did the Senegalese program before, the informations and the subjects that we have in this program is very rich in terms of information. Because when we did the program and I came back to this school, we can see a large difference. For example, I would just want to say that the Senegalese program is kind of advanced from.
Okay, so we take the floor for our fourth intervention. For our fourth intervention, I would like to point out a really important argument that we tend to forget. In the Senegalese educational system, the rural areas are recurrently forgotten because in the rural areas, they do not have the equipment that they need to be able to learn correctly. They sometimes they do not even have schools where they can learn. They don't have teachers. The students are in the best conditions. Uh, um, at the contrary, in the urban areas, we may have a slightly better. We may have a slightly better condition than for the rural areas, but all the students have all the students need to have the same chance. They need to have the same opportunities. So if students in the rural areas, if students in the urban areas are more lucky than students in the rural areas, that's a problem. We should have an educational system where students are at an equal footing. So it's a really important problem that we should actually look out for. We should try to improve our educational system so that all the students will have the same chances. That's what I would like to point. So I will give the floor to Mara so that she can point out another important point.
So the current COVID-19 is a good example of the incapacity of our educational system to match with the need of the population. Like some online platform like Learn at Home and My Class at Home, um, the cost of those online platform doesn't is too heavy for the Senegalese population. Only 20% of the population have access to that platform. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. Next, please.
Seda, you wanted to continue what you were saying?
Yes. So I would just like to continue with what I was saying. So as I was earlier, I participated in the Senegalese program. So my classmates and I took classes to pass the exam we call BIFM in Senegal. And so we did the different subjects that are required to pass the exam. So for example, talking about science and math, when we did these classes in ninth grade, they were really useful because when we came back to IQRA and we did pre-class, they're in very advanced position. And I heard someone in the MAARIF team that we the student in a lesson or something. I think someone said that to have more teachers and less students. How can we have less students if we want to develop our
So I would also,
Can you hear me?
Okay, I would also like to point out the rural area issues with the Senegalese educational system. We believe that the educational system is not solely responsible for that. We believe that the government of Senegal is responsible for bringing more materials and creating more equality between the rural and urban areas, not the system. We believe that the system will definitely be effective as long as the government helps the rural areas progress with their studies. Yes, rural areas, people in the rural areas should be granted with studying and should be granted with the same materials, if not more in overall compared to everybody else, materials for studying. But we believe that these materials should be provided more from the government and not the system, because the system is how they're teaching and in the ways that they're teaching. And the COVID and teaching issue within the Senegalese educational system does not show that the Senegalese educational system failed to match the needs of the people. COVID has actually shown the entire world that it has failed that it has failed in their systems. Take America, for example, who is they're struggling right now. Take Brazil, take Asia. Everybody is struggling right now because of COVID in terms of online learning and everything. And that just means that each system should improve in the ways that they're teaching, not just the Senegalese. So we do not believe that this is something that failed the Senegalese people, but it just shows us a motivation that we need to do better. Shoaib? Okay.
So we'll take the floor for our fifth intervention. I would like to point out something. We talked about the recent COVID-19 craze, I think, because of even though the COVID-19 made all the world struggle with their educational system, we see that our educational system, the Senegalese one, had more problem than the other educational systems. We cannot talk about the COVID-19 without talking about that. Students during the COVID-19 weren't able to go to school, so they had to stay at home and learn. But online learning at Senegal isn't really easy because We do not have the required equipment to actually do the online schooling. We do not have it, and the government doesn't take responsibility for this. They do not take care of this matter. They do not took care of this matter. So we can see that uh, our educational system still lacks many things. And I would also like to point another really important point. Um, our educational system uh, doesn't really, even though 40% of the national budget is used in our education, the most important part of this budget is used to pay actually the workers, like the teachers that are teaching at school. It's not specially used for students, like for making for making projects that will help with the schooling. So even though many money is used for our education, not many a really important part of that money isn't used for actually making programs for the student, and that's a really important point to point at. So I would like to pass the micro to my teammate Mara, that will develop another important argument.
So the lack of speciality of our students, since the first step at school, unlike some countries like America, Asia, and Europe, does not match with the needs of the population, and the problems of technology, all above all the rural areas.
So we're here with our sixth intervention, and we would like to talk about how the government is not really taking care of the education in Senegal. Yes, that is true. However, we do believe that the students in the Senegalese educational system are actually being on learning to force the government into doing things, and we have seen that with the protests that has been going on, and we see that the population of Senegal are aware. Everybody is aware, and that is due to a lot of education. The fact that Senegalese people are challenging some colonial aspects of the Senegalese structure as a whole is also something that the Senegalese educational system has given. I would like to talk about the improvements because we tend to focus on what is not there instead of focusing on what we're doing to be able to fix these problems. I see that more and more people in the government are actually going forward and bringing new series such as the STMG, which is something that students can go to instead of using Serie S or Serie L, which are the two most prominent series during the baccalaureate. And it also helps people to pass the baccalaureate easily so they can get into the workforce. And we believe that the Senegalese population needs more people into the workforce instead of staying back just because they weren't able to finish their education. So we believe that that is something great that's going on within the Senegalese educational system. We'll also be talking about the early learning in the Senegalese educational system. We still believe that the Senegalese educational system is much more advanced, even to the United States of America. Coming from somebody who has grown in the United States of America, there are differences, there are advantages in the United States, there are advantages in Senegal. However, I believe that the students are much more highly trained here in Senegal compared to the ones in America, because if a student from Senegal, I guarantee it, were to go to an American school here in Senegal, which I come from one, or in the United States, they would totally excel compared to the students in the United States. Shoaib?
For the point of agriculture that one of your debaters said, there are three categories in society these days. There are three categories of society these days. There are the workers, they're the supervisors, and they're the thinkers. So if we were to only put ourselves into the working force, then that wouldn't give us any advantage, because who would think for us? Who would supervise us? No one. That is a very huge gap. That it would bring a huge gap in our educational system and also our development. And also, as Aisha said, from recent events of the riots and everything, that is due to awareness and due to education that has happening, and also to the point of technology. In every single country, there are some people in America who cannot afford iPads or even a device to do online classes. In America itself, there are people in America who do not know to read and write, but there's still places to go to. But here in Senegal, the educational system is strong and is also given the students.
Okay, so we'll continue with our sixth intervention. Um, to show all the problems in our educational system, we can see that in 2014, uh, the, in 2014, there was a meeting called Les États Généraux de l'Éducation that took place in January in 2014. Just the fact of having a meeting to found ways to change our educational system shows that our educational system is still not performant. We still lack many things. During the meeting, they were trying to found ways and means to actually change, to actually make our educational system better. And I would also like to point another disadvantage of our educational system. We tend to forget that girls are also part of the population. Many girls in Senegal does not attend school, and that's not a good thing. The girls in Senegal should be able to attend school just like the boys. Girls aren't given equal chances to boys. They We see that nowadays we see that women have a natural affinity to leadership. Um, in the streets, we see many women that are not at school, women that did not have the chance to go at school. They to be able to help their family. They sell things like they sell goods, they sell food, and we see that that's not actually a good thing. Were if women went to school just like boys, if they were able to actually have a good education, able to read properly, to count properly, I think that our country would be able to develop more. I'll pass the macro to my teammate Mamadou so that he can develop another point.
Now I'm going to be saying on a need that is about mechanics. If we take another example from the United States, at middle school they teach children how to fix cars or even build some mechanic stuffs. Different from here in Senegal, when we don't learn about it. And another thing that we need is fish, because today Senegalese are running out of fish, and their specialty is to cook. That's what they are preferably known for. And if we teach children at school how to fish and farm and build stuff, we can be developed much faster. And that's it for our sixth intervention.
Okay, so our seventh intervention, which seems to be our conclusion, I would like to summarize everything that we've been talking about here in terms of yes for the notion. We believe that yes, the Senegalese educational system does need improvements. However, we do still believe that we strongly believe that it does match the needs of the population. One example of how that can happen is because we see that the Senegalese educational system are going to different conventions, different places to be talking about how they can improve. That does not mean you can see it as a cup half filled or a cup half empty. We believe that it is a cup half filled. We see that as something that is improving. A system that sees that it needs to improve for the betterment of their population is in fact a system that must stay, and a system that does match the needs of a population because it does know that it lacks in some certain fields. However, it does know that it can improve in these certain fields. There are many issues surrounding this. However, we believe that it's in a working progress, and we believe that it does match the needs because it does seem to be improving in terms of also girls going to school as well. We have many teachers in our Senegalese schools telling us that they see more girls being highly educated, and you'll see more women owning higher positions in Senegal itself, and they're being shocked about that. And it's a big turnaround. There is the problem of girls not being able to go to school. However, we do see that there's a huge improvement compared to now and 10 years ago. Saida, would you like to help with the conclusion?
So I would just like to add something. So as we all believe that we want to improve our country, and of course by education. So as I was saying earlier, the Senegalese program that is settled in the schools, the different schools, it does respond to the needs of the population because somehow it is advanced from the American program, which is incredible. So if we have this type of program in the different schools of Senegal, we can only be happy from that fact. So of course, if we have a strong educational system like this, that is even advanced from the American system, so of course Senegal will somehow be developed by the students.
Shoaib, would you
Okay,
like to add?
for educational systems, to compare the American educational system and the Senegalese educational system is very, very different because America gained its independence in 1776, whereas Senegal has gained its independence in 1960. That is like that is two whole centuries in between. And for other countries like Europe, like continents like in Europe and Asia, they had their independence and they were studying since. So to compare the two is very shocking and is a mistake from both of our parts. And also, I'll go back to the point of agriculture. Agriculture is, yes, it is the way through life in Africa, especially because we have more natural resources, because especially here in Senegal with the sea, with fishing, it it does give an advantage. And through this, it is education that is passing through the fishermen to other people who had you call it, to interest in the business of fishing. So the point of education here in Senegal not being advantages to the people is um what would I like it's very
is something shocking to say. I would like to conclude this by saying that I have spoken to many Senegalese people over my social experiment, and I wanted to know what they wanted, because this is about the needs of the populations of Senegal. And the majority of the people, 8 out of 10, have told me, yes, they do like their system. They know that there's problems with their system, but they do believe that their system is better in comparison to other systems. And I believe that that is what matters, as long as the Senegalese people do believe that it is what they need. Thank you.
Okay, so our seventh intervention will go with the conclusion, and it's our teammate Mamadou that will be doing the conclusion.
As we said in our first intervention, the Senegalese educational system doesn't match with the needs of the population. Because what we need, because if we don't teach at school things that we need to know to develop, we might as well never develop. But we can have the spirit of to develop when we start changing the educational system, like adding more things or other things. And I'll be giving the floor to Mara.
So I wanted to add some things in the conclusion, like we have to use our national language, and any teacher who have to go and teach to schools, they have to be well trained. I will pass the floor to Amina.
Okay, so I would also like to say something in our conclusion. Yes, we do have many problems. We do have many difficulties in our educational system. We're trying to improve, that's true, but we still lack many things compared to other countries. We're still uh, way behind in terms of education. We still lack many things. We should do more efforts. We should put more efforts in our educational system. Our educational system is still very poor compared to other educational system in other countries and in other continents. We should try to improve it while creating more facilities, while creating more faculties, so that student will be trained properly before uh, actually before we be trained properly to actually have a good profession, because we tend to forget that to have to education isn't actually uh, all academic. We need practical things, like we need to be able to have a profession uh, after finishing school, because everyone cannot go to university, everyone cannot uh, spend many years in university. all the all the students cannot actually do that. We need to have good faculty so that students will be trained properly before having a good profession. That's something I wanted to point out for our conclusion. And also, we need to actually think about the teachers, because teachers in our educational system aren't properly paid. We we have endless strikes in our educational system. Student teachers uh, cannot actually they cannot teach if they're always in strike, if they do not have the opportunities to teach, if they cannot teach. We should actually help our teachers, pay them properly so that they would be able to actually teach things properly. That's what I wanted to point out in our conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was really great hearing you, really giving your arguments, voicing out your opinions. And it bears a certain kind of maturity that really I think that the members of the jury are amazed. And personally, I am amazed with the maturity of your arguments and how you also just voice it out. Now, I think that for the time being, I won't give the floor to the members of the jury, who will go right away with the second round. And I think that they are ready. So that is just so you yes. Okay, so for the second round, we have Malik C High School versus MS High School. So I was saying that the debated topic is it a must for African countries to invest more on the human capital to attain sustainable development? Malik C High School will be for the no and MS for the yes. I think that we can give the floor to the jury president, Mr. Mamadou Silla, maybe to give this some of his impressions. Mr. Mamadou Silla, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean that. Can you hear me?
Well, I'm hearing you now. I was not hearing a while.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just saying that it was really an amazing match. It was really wonderful. The level of the debate was very high in terms of argument, in terms of clarity of the speech, in terms of the English, in terms of everything. Really, it was a high level match. But I will not deep dive into the details of the match and the arguments and everything. So we'll come back to it when I discuss with the members of the jury. To let you know that it was really very amazing.
Yeah, I even suggested that we'll wait until we finish the second round to give you the floor, to give your impressions and talk about the evaluation criteria, things like that.
L'Afrique, terre d'opportunités.
Moi, je suis ravie de voir de belles initiatives comme ça qui accompagnent, incitent la jeunesse africaine à bouger parce qu'effectivement, aujourd'hui, rien ne se fera si on ne bouge pas nous-mêmes. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on est capable de faire de belles...
On a compris que la richesse aujourd'hui, elle se trouve en Afrique.
L'Afrique reste le continent de demain, reste un continent où il y a un développement économique quand même à deux chiffres.
C'est mon destin. Et j'espère que tout Africain qui se trouve ici pense la même chose de son pays.
C'est très important lorsqu'on parle de développement. On ne peut pas aujourd'hui concevoir le développement de l'Afrique sans une unité des Africains.
Qui dit aucun de nous, en agissant seul, ne peut atteindre le succès. Donc agissons ensemble. Nous avons un fort potentiel que nous pouvons apporter à la jeunesse africaine, au développement de l'Afrique en général.
Ce n'est pas un secret, c'est presque une évidence. La jeunesse est une valeur. Elle est l'alpha et l'oméga du développement.